Hello, welcome to homegrownradionj.org. We are here on a Sunday, going rogue, but we are very excited because we've been awarded an opportunity to interview someone that I've admired for a really long time. And without further ado, we welcome Mr. Len Cariou to the airwaves. Hi, can you hear me? Hi, how are you? So it's funny because when I posted that I was interviewing you, I got a lot of response. And it's funny how people know you, you know? From many different walks of life.
Well, I've been around a long time.
You have been around a long time. And one of which we're going to bring up first, is you were the original Sweeney in Sweeney Todd. So do you find that that's what people recognize you for the most, or because you dabble with film, because you dabble in TV, that you get recognized for many different characters that you've played throughout the years?
I think so, yeah. But I think mostly it's because of Blue Bloods, which has been on now for the last 10 years. So I think that's it. I get recognized virtually every day from that, and now it's got to be Blue Bloods.
I did get a lot of people that were like, "Oh my gosh, I watch Blue Bloods every week." Len, I want to introduce you to Danny, my co-host. He was stuck in traffic and he just arrived to the studio. So,
hi, Len.
Hi, Danny.
So excited to chat with you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, you're in rehearsal now for a show coming to City Center in New York. So let's talk a little bit about that. Harry Townsend's Last Stand, and it's you and Craig Bierko. So what's the show about?
It's a father-son reunion of Harry's living on his own. His wife has gone, and he's living on his own in a lake house in Vermont, and his kids are trying to get him out of there. That's basically it. And he doesn't want to go.
And he
doesn't want to lose his independence, and that's really what it's about. It's about then the struggle of getting him out of the house and into assisted living.
And it's a comedy.
Oh yeah.
Which I guess life is a comedy, right? It depends how we all look at it.
Just like life.
Yes. Well, theater is life, right? Showbiz is life.
So, Len, talk about how you approach a character like that in this type of show.
Well, I'm getting up there myself, you know. So there's a lot of familiar ground that is ailing Harry Townsend, that I'm going, hey, this is pretty close to Len Cariou, that's it. So the approach is pretty apparent, if you will. The play is very well written by George Eastman, and it's a really thorough look into the life of somebody in their 80s, and it's hitting close to home, and it will to the audience too, I'm sure.
And I think close to home, whether you are 80 or whether you're someone my age. My dad's not 80, my dad's 76, but approaching. So it's definitely
something we can relate to.
We all can relate to.
Exactly. Exactly what I was going to. The next point I was going to make, I said, what about your folks? You're still around? Mine, of course, are gone.
Right.
It's your folks, and our director, Karen Carpenter, is going through this same thing with her mother, and so is Craig Bierko with his mother.
Right.
So it's ringing bells all over the place in this rehearsal room, I can tell you.
Oh, and yes, my father is still alive, but sadly, my mother passed on prematurely, and I'm an only child. So I'm very attached to my dad. I mean, we talk multiple times a day because I want every moment that I can have, like every second of the day that I can have with him.
And that's what, of course, in our play, Craig's twin sister has been looking after me for the last couple of years, and I now need somebody every day. It's not a matter of just checking in with me and seeing me the first thing in the morning and giving me my pills and then seeing me the next morning. Now it's every day that she's got to come in and she's got to cook. She's got, so that's exactly what's going on here.
Len, I find your career so moving because you're from Canada, right? And you're a knight.
Well,
right? Can you explain that though?
It's the equivalent, I think, in Canada of the British knighthood. I'm an officer of the Order of Canada, and I'm also an officer of the Order of Manitoba, which is my home province. So it's a pretty lovely honor.
It sounds great.
It does sound great. It is such an honor. But so growing up in Canada, when did you get the showbiz, the acting bug? Were you young? Did it hit you later on in life? Because you kind of took off and you're never stopped and you're still going.
Right. It happened, I think I was very early on. I was in Winnipeg, growing up there, and there was no theater there at the time. There was no live theater or professional theater at the time. Now it's one of the biggest theaters in the country. So I was a founding member of that in the late 50s of the Manitoba Theater Center. But I'd been a singer most of my life. My mother had a beautiful voice, and the Irish side of the family were kind of musical, so I came by that sort of honestly. And I wanted to. We still do have in Winnipeg a Rainbow Stage, which is at that time was an outdoor theater in the park, and I wanted to be a part of it when I was 20 years old,
mm-hmm.
and because they did musicals, and so I got an audition with a man by the name of John Hirsch, who became my mentor and founded the Manitoba Theater Center. And that next fall, he invited me to play Ensign Pulver and Mr. Roberts, and that's really where it took off from there. And then he engineered my going to Stratford, Ontario, to the Shakespeare Festival, and that's how the Shakespeare part of my career began. And I was able to do both the classical work and musical comedy.
So you go from musical comedy to classic theater, Shakespeare, to TV, to film. Is it easy to flip through all those different mediums?
Pretty easy, yeah. The instinct, of course, is always the same.
Right.
The acting instinct is always the same. You just have to be a little more subtle with film and television in your reaction to things. But it's really all there for you to take advantage of, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, Len, in this illustrious career you've had, is there a role that you're still waiting to play, or even maybe there's a role that you would like to go back to and revisit?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going back and doing Prospero again.
Ooh, yes.
Or even. Well, I think I want to play Lear. I've played it twice, when I was 35 and when I was 45.
Wow.
And I think I'd like to do that, but I don't know whether physically I could do Lear anymore, or even Prospero. For that matter. They're both pretty physical roles. But yeah, that's been sort of on my bucket list, if you will.
Right.
Oh, I would love to see that. I did see King Lear years ago at Lincoln Center Theater, and it was. I've only read the play, so it was nice seeing it live. So you're growing up, and you're in Winnipeg. Would you ever have imagined back then where you have landed now?
I sort of. I mean, I think I wanted to be I thought I would be in musical theater somehow. I think it was in the cards, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. And you have when you're a teenager, you've got all kinds of ambition, and your dreams are constant. And I found that 10 years after I was in the theater, I was here in New York and did my first musical, and that was pretty special. To originate a role is a very huge responsibility for one thing, and very satisfying.
So
I think I always wanted to do this, but I didn't imagine that it probably would happen. Certainly not living in Winnipeg.
And like I mentioned when I was saying that we would be interviewing today, and I mentioned everyone's like, I watch him on Blue Buds. I saw him as as Sweeney Todd. You definitely touch a lot of people. You won a Tony for originating, and Sweeney's been all over because I think it's the 40th anniversary this year of Sweeney's. Do you look back on that experience? Because Sweeney to me is an iconic, epic character. And when I think of Sweeney, I think of you, and I'm sure a lot of people do too. What is that? I know you've done so many things after, but what does that do? You created Sweeney.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Yeah. I was lucky.
Yeah.
But remember that we, when I say we, Harold Prince and Stephen Sondheim and I had done a little night music together before Sweeney Todd, and so I was in the mix, if you will.
Right.
All along. And yeah, it was. It's a work of genius, I think, Sweeney Todd. When I read it first, I thought they were out of their minds. The musical I was starting, but then I thought, well, if they make the music romantic and you write some really interesting stuff, it might work. And damned if it didn't.
I definitely threw on a little Pretty Women yesterday. I've been doing renovations around my house, and I said, I'm just going to throw this on while I'm decorating. You do have such a beautiful voice.
So what advice do you have for someone, whether it's a kid in Winnipeg right now, or someone who, has been working 20 years in the business and they're just
burned out, maybe?
They're burned out or they're struggling. What advice do you have for someone to just keep going?
Well, I think the only thing you can ever just say is just make sure that's burning a hole in your belly.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to deal with rejection for the rest of your life.
Right.
Because you're not going to get as many jobs as you do, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're going to be turned down left, right, and center. So just make sure that it's something that you can deal with from that point of view.
That's what it is. Just keep on going and make sure you're still, don't take it so personal, right? So I know that you're in rehearsal. So you open November 18th with Harry Townsend. First preview is of Harry Townsend's Last Stand, November 18th at City Center Stage 2, I believe.
Yeah, good.
And how long is the run? It's limited.
It's open ended sort of.
Oh, good. Okay.
I think it's several months we have the theater. So I think it's till the spring sometime.
Oh, good.
That's great.
That is great. And then what happens with Blue Bloods? Are you on height? Like, how does that work when you go from like?
I don't know. We're still going. I Blue Bloods. The day after we do our first preview, I do Blue Bloods the next morning on the 19th.
Oh my gosh! And this is your 80th year, so happy birthday! What a year! I mean, really, you are someone to admire, and I'm not just being a fan.
Thank you.
And to be able to wake up every morning and say, I get to do this, and know that you make people so happy in what you're doing.
It's nice. It's a nice reward.
It is a nice reward. It's like you're sharing your amazing gifts that were bestowed upon you. And I could just see when I mentioned, like I said, when we were interviewing you, people were just so full of joy.
Just so excited. So had a story to share, which is really, really nice to see.
So thank you so much for giving us your time today. I know that you have a busy schedule, and I think I'm going to come see your show. I think I'm going to come see the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I do.
I would love to see.
Have a good time. I promise.
I think I would. Maybe you know what? I think I'll take my dad.
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
I think I'll take my dad. Thank you so much for giving us this time on your Sunday.
Thank you, Len.
Have a wonderful first preview, and we'll look for you on stage and TV.
That's great. That's right.
That's great.
Okay.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. So that was... I was nervous. I was like, Danny. You know what? And everyone was like, I mean, I knew he was going to be a nice man, but you know, when you're talking to someone with that much pull and grab and influence.
When you had posted about it, everyone was just sharing what they liked him from. And it wasn't the same thing, which, right? It wasn't just Sweeney Todd. It was Blue Bloods, or it was from this or from something else. And I remember when you said to me, like, oh, I think I have an interview lined up for us. I immediately said Sweeney Todd because I didn't think of like the artwork.
Yes,
right?
Yes. I had that picture in my head.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know for us theater nerds, we were like,
well, and that's what's funny too, which what I wanted to say was I could tell because my friends, my social media circle is very diverse. So some people know him from Blue Bloods. You could see my hardcore musical theater friends knew him from Sweeney. And he did bring up Night Music, which is one of my favorite musicals. And he was Frederick.
It's funny too how so many of these musical theater performers, how they work on TV, like Law and Order and Blue Blood.
Oh my God, he's like going like the next day, he like opens up that show. I'm like, I wonder if I could do that.
Funny when I'm watching TV and I'll be like, oh, there's so-and-so, and whoever I'm watching with, they'll be like, who's that? I'm like, oh, they're in a Broadway musical, or they were in this musical.
Right.
You know, like
it's funny, yeah.
Right? And it's usually like these police crime drama
Yes,
shows,
it's like
too.
Peter Onorati's like on SWAT.
Right? It's almost like
I know
it's like a 180 from doing this song and dance
to
being, a police officer, or a judge, or
No, we were going to go Facebook Live, but Danny was unfortunately stuck in traffic this morning, which happens. Life happens. We don't get mad. I'm like texting him. I'm like, don't speed.
She's like, don't speed. She's such a mom. So that was the first thing she said to me was, don't speed. And then
because I knew you were panicking.
She literally was like, don't speed. And I'm like, I'm almost on 287.
I know. I was like, relax, it happens.
I was like, hit somebody too.
Well, you have an event today at the Growing Stage.
Yeah, today is officially the 100th birthday of the Palace Theater.
That's so fantastic. So fantastic.
It opened its doors on November 10th, 1919. So we have an event at 4 o'clock. And, but I wanted to be able to squeeze this in.
No, it's glad we did.
I'm so excited that you let me come in and do this with you.
Oh my God. Listen, I let you. You're my teammate.
But can I just...
What do you mean?
I'm so glad you let me out of my
Thank
cage.
you. I know.
But I gotta say though, my own like little van, when you're running late,
You feel.
there's no parking.
I know,
right
of
in
course.
front.
It's like
There's
you're
always
like.
parking in front.
I
of
walked
the
here.
studio.
I walked here.
There's always parking for the studio.
I
I
know.
was like, of course.
The one day.
The
But
one day.
what a nice man.
Very nice man.
So friendly.
You know, and he's a knight in Canada.
Oh my God, I had to bring that up.
Officer of the
Guard?
guard.
Was
It
it?
just sounded really.
It sounded really like I want that. Anyway, guys, we're gonna go back to music. November 16th, Homegrown's 15th anniversary bash at the Boot and Elks right across the street. Pine Box Boys and Kinderhook Country Rock.
Box Boys.
Yeah, it's our Damien and a bunch of our friends. I'm like,
having the Facebook.
I know,
Live
I'm
right
normally
here.
dancing, and I'm sorry I couldn't go Facebook Live, Janine, but we'll hopefully get this interview processed. I don't know how good my tech was today. But anyway, November 16th, $15. You can go to the Homegrown Facebook page. All the info is there. It's
This is fun,
Sunday.
a little snap, crackle, and pop up
Interview.
interview.
That's going to be our thing. That's our thing, too. All right?
I mean, hey, we should
Come
be
on.
eating cereal right now.
Seriously.
We should do this in like pajamas.
We
Sunday.
can come on a Sunday.
Right.
I'll do my hair in a top knot.
I like how you're wearing a coat. I took mine off, but I'm like freezing.
I was like, I'm not even taking my coat off. All right, guys, we'll be back our usual time Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Donna Vivino.
Yes, excited for that.
So we'll see you guys
Enjoy
on
your
the
Sunday,
Tuesdays.
guys.
Enjoy, guys. Talk to you
Bye.
later.